What's going on, everybody? I'm Terrence, and this is Bank Shipping. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Hope everybody's having a good morning so far. If you ain't up, go ahead and get up and start that grind. I am in Baltimore, Maryland, at the good old Port of Baltimore. Picking up a couple crates going back to West Virginia. It's about like 30 miles from home base. So hopefully, supposed to be a quick, easy load. 3 crates, 13,000 pounds. They wanted tarp and ran straight through. So hopefully we can get this thing on, get down the road, get it off. Yesterday, I delivered that load that I got down in Richmond on Friday. That took forever. And when I got to the drop off, there was 2 other trucks that came in behind me a little bit after I did. And they had no idea where to put it, what they were doing. They were just short staffed. They had operations managers, branch managers, people who were normally in an office out there working in the field. One of the guys was a manager that was operating a forklift, and he ain't never operated that type of forklift before. So it's just nobody wants to work, and that's playing into a lot of these long loading and unloading times. But I got there at 8:30 like they wanted me to, and I didn't end up leaving there until 12 o'clock. So it happens. It is what it is. I say that all the time, but it is very, very, very frustrating. Any of you guys that are in the industry, you guys know too, because it kind of just messed up my day. But we'll see what today holds. I've already checked in at the port, got into the port, checked in at the shed that I'm picking up the stuff within the port. So now I'm just waiting for them to come get me and load me up. So hopefully that doesn't take very long. They are booming. When I say they are booming at the port. I mean, it is packed with trucks. So we'll see what happens. So I'll see y'all after I get loaded. I got that load dropped off in West Virginia, then ran back home, dropped my trailer, ran 2 Family Dollar trailers. That was just a mess. I ain't never really had it be a mess before, but they were slammed at the distribution center, so it took forever getting in there. You know, and then the second trailer, you know, I picked one, dropped one off, picked one up, bought it back, and then took another one back to Family Dollar. And then the last trailer I was supposed to bring back to the trailer shop, they told me it was in the wrong location. So, you know, they basically give me the trailer number and then the location of the trailer. They got spots, you know, or rows, A, B, C, D, E, F, and numbers. And so, you know, they got a system, of course, and it tells you which trailer is where. You know, so I was told it was in one spot and it wasn't in that spot. So I had to track it down, chase it down, all that stuff. Finally found it, got back, and now I'm back at the yard, hooked back up to my trailer. I got a 2-stop load tomorrow of insulation. Can't load till the morning, so I'll load and go that in the morning. And so that's the end of the day. It's dark outside, but it's not late. It's only 5:30. Good old daylight savings time. I hate it, hate it, hate it, hate it. You know, you get on the road, at least I do, you know, get on the road when it's dark outside and you don't get home till it's dark outside. Makes you feel tired and all this other stuff, you know. You get home and, you know, it's like 7:30, but it feels like 10 o'clock at night after you eat dinner or whatever, and I don't like it. I'm ready for daylight savings, that whole thing to be over with, you know, ready to get back to spring and spring back, you know, give me my days, long days back, ready to get rid of the winter time, fall time, whatever you want to call it, this cold, ready to get rid of it. Slow season, like there's just nothing other than the holidays, you know, where you get to spend some time with family and stuff like that, eat some good food, you know, you got kids, see your kids light up on Christmas and all that stuff. Other than these couple holidays, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, ain't nothing to like about this time of year, at least not for me. There's some people that love it, pumpkin spice and all that. I don't like nothing pumpkin, so I don't like the fall, I don't like the cold, I don't like the winter, none of that. Ready to get back to the spring, man. But yeah, I'll see y'all in the morning. All right, so my load and go ended up being a load and stay. So went to pick up this morning, had 2 stops, one in Richmond, one in Chesapeake. And when I got there, one of their forklift drivers had some home issues or something, whatever, I don't even care. So it took forever to get loaded. I sat there for 3 hours before I got loaded. And so what that did is that put me way behind, and I was only able to get 1 stop off, which was the Richmond stop. They got 6 skids. The stop in Chesapeake also gets 6 skids. So that's what I have right here. It goes to this place. I don't know if y'all can see that, but gates all locked up. It was actually the same customer or the same drop off, but in 2 different locations. So, you know, it's the same company, but the drop, you know, they got 2 different locations, one in Richmond, one in Chesapeake. So I'm delivering to both of those. Luckily, this place is in like an industrial park. There's like 3 or 4 different buildings back here, and they got other trailers and everything set here. So luckily there was a spot for me to park at. So we'll just be here for tonight. I'll deliver in the morning. They start receiving at 8, so that's when I'll be back at the gate ready to get unloaded. And then I guess I'll be headed home. You know, it never fails coming down here to Chesapeake. I can't stand coming down here. I don't know why I torture myself coming down here, because there's never any freight coming out of here. Unless you're pulling a chassis, a container chassis, or you're bobtailing, you're power only pulling a container chassis out of the port, there's nothing down here. But the crazy thing is, before I said yes to this load, all week there has been stuff all down here, going all over the place. I mean, over the course of the last, the past couple days, I've seen I don't know how many loads coming out of Chesapeake, Norfolk, Newport News, the whole Hampton Road area. I even seen a load coming out of Williamsburg. Seen all types of loads. So when this load came up, I was like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. If I was in Chesapeake, they got some good freight down there, good paying freight down there. So yeah, why not? I'll take it. Yeah, shot myself on the foot on that one, because literally coming down here, there was nothing. There hasn't been a new load, because I don't really have any contacts down near this area other than the trailers, and they don't have anything. But there hadn't been a new load posted on either truck stop or DAT in like 7 hours. There's been the same 6 loads on the load board all day, and none of them are even in this area remotely. They're all 130, 150 miles going south. Well, I'm not going to go 150 miles south to come back north, and the reason is because I have a physical on Friday. So basically today or tomorrow is my last day of the week running, so I need something to bring me back to the house, since I don't have time to deliver Friday. I need something that's going to be dropped off today or tomorrow. Now, since I got held up at the shipper, that screwed my day up, because I couldn't pick anything up today. Now, there was one load on the board that I called about, but they wanted it picked up today. Even though it didn't have to deliver till tomorrow, they didn't want it picked and ran straight through. They wanted it picked today. Well, since I still have this, I couldn't do it. So maybe something will pop up at 8 o'clock. I doubt it, but I'm hopeful. If not, then it is what it is. Just did hit home. Might stop and get the truck washed. So I'll see y'all in the morning, man. And I'm back at the yard. Got that load dropped off Chesapeake after I stayed the night there. Dropped it off this morning, first thing, 8 o'clock. They got me unloaded pretty quick. It's like 20 minutes. Go figure, when I don't have something, planned for the rest of the day, I get unloaded quickly. Normally, if I got another load or something, of course, everybody takes forever. But I don't have another load, and what do you know? They get me unloaded quickly. But couldn't find nothing else down in the area. It's, getting to be the holidays, and at least in my area, things are slowing down pretty quickly. And then, of course, I was running against, things were against me because I have a doctor's appointment, for a physical tomorrow. So I couldn't really stay out again or run something else that delivered on Friday, tomorrow. So I just did hit it home. It sucked, but it is what it is. I made a little bit of extra money today because I had some trailers to run. So I did hit it home, ran some trailers, and now I'm back. So we'll be parked filled until tomorrow. I have a load to pick up that delivers back down in that area Monday, which I don't really want to go back there, but with a short week, for Thanksgiving week, short week, so gotta take it while I can. At least I hope I can get that load, because right now I don't have trailer brakes. And it has nothing to do with the trailer. It has everything to do with the truck. When I was leaving Chesapeake, I was coming down the road and the car pulled out in front of me at an intersection. Had to come down on the brakes pretty hard. And then after that, my brake controller just started going haywire. Like, I had brakes, but there's a little red light that tells you, basically when the brakes are engaged, it comes on when you hit the brake pedal. That red light was staying on all the time, but I still had brakes. If any of you guys don't know, I have an air actuated brake controller. So there's an air line that comes into the brake controller. That brake controller turns it into an electrical signal, which then sends it back to the trailer to run the hydraulic pump for the brakes on the trailer. Well, as I got closer you know, to home, it was still red, but I still had brakes. And then once I disconnected my trailer and started running the other trailers, the red light went off. So I was like, great. I don't know what that was. Maybe it was electrical gremlin or something like that. But then when I would hit the brakes, because, you know, it still sends air to that brake controller, even if you're not hooked up to an electric over hydraulic trailer, it's always going to send air to that brake controller anytime you hit the brakes. Well, I would barely touch the brakes, and I mean, the slide would slam all the way over to the right, like the manual slide. It would slam all the way to the right. And I was like, what in the world's going on here? Because normally you barely tap the brakes and it barely gives, because it's a proportional brake controller. So then when I got done running trailers, I hooked back up to my trailer, and I went to manually slide the brake controller just to see if it was working, and there was like no resistance or anything on that slide, and it wasn't actuating the brakes. Now if I hit the brake pedal, it'll slam to the right like it's going to give brakes. The brake lights and everything come on the trailer, but it does not give me any brakes. So can't really run loads with no trailer brakes. Now I have another brake controller. This is the crappy part of the dilemma. So this air actuated brake controller, to me, in my personal opinion, it's a good idea, but it's super finicky. Like when it gives brakes, like it's you have a delay, of course, because the air turn it into electrical signal, and then you have the delay from the hydraulic pump. So there's a bit of a delay, and you can't really find the sweet spot on the gain for the brakes. But I've, you know, learned to deal with it, and it's been working fine. But this is the second one that I've bought, because the first one did the exact same thing. The red light stayed on all the time, and then it just stopped working. So I went out and bought a Prodigy P3, because that's what I had in my pickup. I loved it. It does electric over hydraulic brakes as well. So I was like, oh, I'll go to a P3. Well, the only problem with that is, I don't know if you guys can tell, I think I've talked about this before, but I'm not sure. So my brake lights are on right now. Now, the reason my brake lights are on is because the way my truck is set up, anytime the parking brake is engaged, the brake lights come on. All trucks aren't like that. Some trucks are. So because of that, if I went to a P3, that works off of the brake light switch. Well, if I go to a P3 and I pull the parking brake, engage the parking brake, it's going to send a brake signal because it works off the brake light switch. Well, if I'm parked and the truck is on, it's going to constantly send a brake signal back here to this hydraulic pump, and I'll end up burning up the pump. I don't want to do that. So the dilemma is trying to find a way, because I've been told there is a way, I just haven't been able to figure it out. Trying to find a way to get the brake lights off when the parking brake is engaged. If I can do that, I can run the P3 and I'll be a whole lot happier. But if not, that means I have to order yet another air actuated brake controller, and who knows how long that's going to take. So one of my plans tomorrow is to find a way to get these brake lights off. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to order a air actuated brake controller. That way, see if I can get next day shipping. That way it is at least here for if I don't find a way to get those brake lights off. And then I can just hook it back up and now have a new one. But I'm just tired of buying brake controllers. It shouldn't be going that bad that quick. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, man, we're back. Like I said, this is this is it for the week. Thanksgiving is next week, so we got a short week. There's a lot of talk out there about rates going in the tank, and that happens every time this year because the volume of freight slows down. You have less volume, more trucks, more people fighting over loads, and more people willing to lower their rates just to get a load. People, don't do that. I understand you gotta make money. I really do. I understand that you gotta make money. I gotta make money too. But I'll be damned if I'm going to lower my rates just to get a load from somebody else. I'm not gonna be cutthroat like that, because all that's gonna do is just gonna further bring them down in the tank. Because if you take a load for $750 and then somebody undercuts you and say they'll do it for $600, well, then the next week when that same load comes on the board, they're gonna have it listed for $5, and then y'all gonna be fighting from $5 down to $450, down to where it's not even worth it, and you're still gonna have people taking. It's part of the flatbed game, man. When flatbed, at least up in this area, I don't know how it is down south where it stays warm, but at least up in this area where it gets cold and construction slows down and stuff like that, you have a slowdown period. And every year, people are fighting to keep their trucks loaded. So what do? They lower their rates. And you don't think brokers and customers know that? Of course they know that. I have a few customers, well, not now, but I've had a few customers in the past where I didn't run for them at all in the wintertime because they got too cheap. And then they want to call me back in the summertime because they don't have nobody to run their stuff. You know, it is what it is. That's what happens. But I'm telling you, don't stoop to that level. It'll be better for you in the long run. Like I said, I know that you have to make money. I know that you have to make money. But you also have to draw a line. Because you might be making money, but it might not be what it needs to be for you to sustain your business. Now, I understand people are probably going to be like, oh, well, some money is better than no money. You're right. I understand that. But you still have to draw a line, because at the end of the day, you have a business to run. You have a business to maintain. If you got equipment payments, you got equipment payments to pay. I understand that. Go out there and make your money. But just know that once you cross that line, there's no coming back. Once you take a load for $1.50 a mile, the next time that broker calls you, he's going to expect you to run for $1.50 a mile, because that's what you did. You can't run from $1.50 and then say, nah, man, I need $3. It don't work that way. They're not going to do that. So stay high. Like I said in the last episode, or the episode before last, can't remember. Know what your overhead is. Know what your cost per mile is to run. And then work your way off of that. I guarantee you it'll be a lot better. So with that being said, everybody have a safe weekend, fun weekend, all that good stuff. Starting to rain. If it's raining, stay dry. And as always, stay prayed up, grind hard, and stay humble.